Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at a proof. We want a two-column proof, given some information, needing to prove. This is really dealing with, I think, triangle congruency theorem. So anyway, let's look at this. We'll read it and we'll take it step by step. So this is a problem that is coming from CPM's Integrated Math 2, and this is section 8. 8.2.1, number 8-29. So it says, examine the diagram at the right. It says, assume that AD, so segment AD and BE are line segments. So AD and BE are line segments. So these are line segments that intersect, right? But then we know that we have got some given information that BC is congruent to DC. So I am given that BC is congruent to DC, right? So those are going to be some givens. So let me actually make some notes on my thing. So this is congruent to that, all right? And angle A is congruent to, so angle A is congruent to angle E. So I know that those angles are congruent, all right? So it wants me to prove, so those are the givens, remember? So we're going to have in our statement, in our statement and reasons, those as givens. And then it wants me to get down to being able to prove that AB, segment AB, is congruent to ED. So I'm looking for AB. I want that congruent to that. That's what I want to get to. So I can see already that I'm probably going to do some triangle similarity theorem here of some sort. So let's look at this and create our two-column proof. Remember, when you have a two-column proof, your first column is your statements, and your second column is your reasons, right? All right, so we usually try to start ourselves off with our givens. So I can say that I see BC, and you got to write them down because it's part of the flow of the proof. BC is congruent to DC, right? And I'll just put it on the same line, and angle A is congruent to angle E. Let me draw that a little better there, make sure we can read it. Angle A is congruent to angle E, right? And then what would our reason be? Our reason would be given, because that's what we have. We were given that information, so we'd say given. So our next line, I need to see something else that's equal. Well, I can see this angle here and that angle there are equal or congruent because they are cut by these two line segments. Those are vertical angles. So I'm going to say that angle, and I got to list them out. Angle A CB is going to be congruent to angle ECD, and because why? Because vertical angles. You just got to say vertical angles. They're vertical angles, so therefore they are congruent. We have a theorem about vertical angles, a property. All right, so now I can see here, look at this. I've got an angle, two angles, right? Angle, side. So I have congruent triangles. So now I can get right to the fact that I can say that triangle ACB is congruent to triangle ECD because of angle, side, triangle congruency. All right, so now I've got congruent triangles. And once I have congruent triangles, I'm there, I'm done. I know that this side, AB, has to be congruent to DE, because if you have congruent triangles, then all parts of a triangle are congruent. All corresponding parts are congruent. So we can get right to what we wanted to prove, and we can end it here with AB. Segment AB is congruent to segment ED because congruent triangles, we say congruent triangles have congruent parts, right? So there we go, done.